You want to go like fast in and fast out. That's the secret.
As a driver, you're always trying to find a balance of safe rear, but at the same time a car that can rotate quick enough so that you can go on power early. Remember, the biggest and most important thing is, you know, the quicker you go on power, the faster you're going. And so you want to be able to get the car turned as early as possible.
You're going this way on your fastest you can, let's say 200 miles an hour, and basically there's a straight going that way and there's a corner in between. At one point the car needs to rotate to go back. So you're braking, you start to steer in, under brakes, still under brakes, and at the moment kind of you're coming off the brakes, that's when the car rotates and you can go to throttle on the exit.
Yeah, rotation is key in a race car, and it's such a fine line. You don't want too much rotation to where you can't roll any speed into the corner, but you want that rotation to happen early.
Over rotation, it's when the rear is loose, when you turn in and it rotates too much and you need to counter steer, or it's not rotating enough, it means that you have understeer, so the rear is too planked or the front is too weak that it doesn't rotate.
You know, you have a car that's normally understeer, which means the front is skipping and you cannot actually rotate the car and point the car in the right direction to just drive off the corner. And you also have cars that are oversteered to the point where it's hard for you to charge into the corner and you're always afraid of losing the rear. And so as a driver, you're always trying to find a balance of safe rear, but at the same time a car that can rotate quick enough so that you can go on power early.
Some people like more rotation, which is a more precise car, more front. Some other guys like a lazier car, so it's a safer car with the rear.
It's a fine line. When you have a car that has too much rotation, it's hard to hold any brake into the corner without the car sliding out from under you, which would completely ruin the rest of the corner. So you hear people say a lot of the time loose is fast. It's a good saying, but it's more about comfortability. If you're a guy that likes a car that's a little bit more settled down in the rear end, a little bit more understeer, that's fine. And then there's guys that like it on the looser end.
When you see a slow hands going on, it's a precise car, has a lot of rotation on the car, which is my style a lot. I like a lot like that, slow hands and then just being precise. Yeah, it goes down to the driver feeling.
And the only tools you have is the braking and basically how you use the brakes. So initially, in the first moment when you're at top speed, there's a lot of downforce on the car. Basically, it's impossible to lock the front wheels. Basically, when you come to the corner, you have to release the brakes because the speed is going down, the downforce of the car is less, so it's easier to lock the front tire. So halfway the braking zone, you're coming off the brakes in a very smooth way, so it doesn't do this on the car. And then if you press a bit more, the car goes down. If you go less, the car comes up. So basically, you want to keep it that the speed is just about right, that the front end of the tires grip up. You don't overslip it, you don't underslip it. The right moment you come off the brakes, that's when the car pops up, and that's when you rotate and go out.
When you brake, obviously the weight goes forward, and so that lightens up the rear end. So the rear end's a little bit more on edge. And so ways that you can combat that, if you have too much rotation early on, you might use less trail braking. So less brake once you start to turn into the corner. And on the flip side, if you have a car that has quite a bit more understeer, you can kind of induce a little bit more oversteer by tipping the car in a little bit more, with a little bit more braking. So it's a necessary skill to have, especially, you're never going to have a perfect race car ever really in your life. It's always going to have understeer or oversteer. And so having a tool like that you can use with your feet mostly and a little bit with your hands is key to being fast.
The pedals, I would say, is the second steering wheel, because with the pedals you can make the rotation completely going on. So you need to know what you like with your hands and then adapt that with your feet.
Let's say a corner is just about flat or not. The way to keep the front and the nose of the car into the corner is just a little lift, because basically if you keep throttle and you're having understeer in the car and you're not going to make it, if you then lift a little, the car comes up, it rotates, and it goes that way. So sometimes lifting is better than keeping it flat.
But if you're struggling with little problems, we have these tools inside the car to help us quite a bit. And the biggest thing is to be on top of it early. because any problem you have throughout the stint, it's just going to get worse. So if you feel that you have a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of understeer, and you can use, you know, brake balance and tools inside the car, rear, front anti-roll bars, you want to be on top of that very early. So you really need to use your mind as well as being able to drive.